Well, good morning, Bombardiers.
Good morning.
Yay! Look, hey, we made it another week. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
Yay! And look, Bloodthorn Zero, which is Brandon, already he made it this week too.
Wow! Hey, Brandon.
Yay!
Yay!
Thanks for popping in and joining us this morning. Well, we got some news to tell you about this week.
Did we?
Yeah. Well, a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yes.
We've got. I just sent out the email the other day that we've got some offers and stuff posted this week.
Oh, that's right.
Yep. So I kind of want to tell you guys about that a little bit. The first thing that I wanted to mention was there is a coupon code in the email for 20% off anything in the web store this month. And the coupon code is on the screen here. It's SPRNG 2022. And we're doing some spring cleaning. We're trying to clear out some stuff to make way for the scout ship kits that we're working on. So once we wrap up the Kickstarter fulfillment, we can add those to the web store and start selling those. So take a look at the coupon code here on the screen, and when you go to checkout anything in the web store, just put that little code in. There's a little place on the checkout in the web store. You can add that, and it'll give you the discount on your order. You can use that once this month. So gather up all your stuff. There's a couple other things that Vicky put together. So let's see. Yeah. We got the dog days of April 10th and 11th.
Yeah, that's tomorrow and Monday.
Yep.
So you can pick you out a free puppy.
Yep.
With, what is it? Orders over $25?
Yeah, if you get $25 or more in the web store, then we'll send you a puppy of your choice. So
just let me know or I'll randomly pick it. It's like, that's not the puppy I wanted. Well, you didn't tell me.
Yeah. So it's our choice or your choice. One of the two.
Yeah, I'd rather it be your choice.
Yeah.
So you can, be sure to get what you want.
Yeah. ZBrush keeps popping up on the screen there because I keep hitting the wrong key. Okay. And then the other offer thing that we've got is on April the 18th.
Yep.
Which is Velociraptor Day.
I know. Can y'all believe that? That's awesome.
How did you find out about that? Well, what was
I
that?
just kind of happened on it because there's like sites that do like unusual or fun holidays, that people don't know about. And it's like, well, there's a Velociraptor Day. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Now, I couldn't tell you if there's a T-Rex Day or a Triceratops Day or a Stegosaurus Day. I don't know.
Right.
But there is a Velociraptor Day.
Right.
So.
And if you get $50 or more in the web store this month, because there's some cool stuff to get, you're going to get a clutch.
You are going to get a swarm.
A swarm of
baby Velociraptors.
Right. Right.
So you're going to get 6 of Taj.
Right.
So if you want a swarm of baby Velociraptors,
this is the time to get them on April the 18th. So don't forget about that. Hey, we got some people that popped in on the chat here. James is in. It says he finished his, is it Breely? And have me tea. Okay, so you got some breakfast tea, I guess, which is great.
Cool.
And Heather's back with us again.
Hey.
Breaky. So he's having breakfast.
Oh, Breaky.
That's
okay, gotcha.
Yep. So
okay, breakfast Breaky.
Awesome. Well, I haven't had cereal or anything else this morning. I did have a little bit of tea. I had my customary Earl Grey with a little honey in it, and
honey in it.
Yeah, a little honey in it. Yeah. Well, I mean, see, the thing about it is, it's that the pollen and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Smart move.
Yeah. So I've been trying to, kind of include honey in some stuff in order to, because it's local. That Kelly's honey that you get is, local stuff.
Yeah, that's local.
Yeah, so it's got all the pollen in it, which keeps my allergies to a minimum.
That is a smart move.
Mm-hmm. And Dave popped in a little bit. Hey, good morning, Dave. Glad you could join us. I know you've got kind of a busy day lined up or whatever, so I'm glad you were able to come and hang out with us for a little bit. Yeah. Brandon says that honey's supposed to help with allergies, and it does. I mean, that may be kind of, what do they call, an old wives' tale or something like that. But
it seems to work.
Well, it's worked for me because, like, when I was in high school, I had super bad allergies. Like, every time spring would come around and, like, I'd mow the grass or whatever, it would just, the floodgates would open. And
Ragweed is bad.
Yeah, itchy eyes and all that type of stuff. And so, after, in college, I had heard about that. And so I thought, okay, well, I'm going to get some local honey and started. And it took about 2 weeks of, eating it, on a regular, I just put it on a little piece of toast or something, put some honey on there. And, like 2 weeks. And it cleared it right up. So I haven't had allergy problems, in 30 years. So, it worked for me. It may not work for everybody, but it's I keep going with it. So, GW Rules says we should pass a law to ban ragweed. I agree.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's get the.
I wish we could.
Yeah. Let's see. I was friends honey, but bees didn't survive. Oh, well, yeah. That's too bad. Yeah, bees are on a shortage right now, so man, you want to take care of them. Let's see. I have to wait until he gets a new hive. Yeah, tablespoon a day. That's right.
Yeah.
Keeps the allergies away. So let's see what else we got going on. Okay, we talked about the raptor hatchlings. Okay, we're going to jump into a little bit of Kickstarter stuff here. Okay, it looks like it froze up there. Okay, there we go. We did a lot of Kickstarter stuff this week.
Yeah.
So starting off with the Gint bots, we put the sprues together. We printed out the sprues, I guess, last week, and got those cleaned up and put them on molds. So I keep doing that. So we got the molds poured and everything for all of the Gint bot parts. So I ran a batch or two. Well, I ran a couple of batches of those the other day. Enough to send out this next round of orders. I think we're trying to get a dozen ships sent out next, and then we'll do.
Well, it won't be quite that many, but then we'll make up for it with the next batch that we send out. So.
Yeah, but the idea is to do like 2 dozen ships over the
2 dozen ships.
Right.
Over the next month, and then we'll be down to the War Rocket stuff.
Yep, exactly. So in this batch of stuff, we got the Gint bots poured up, the molds and everything, and then I was able to run a batch. And then there's the parts. That's what you're going to get in the little set of Gint bots on the Kickstarter project. So Vicky packaged all those up, and so this next batch of rewards fulfillment packages that are going out, those will be in there. Then I kind of cleaned up some of the sculpts and made sure the engineering and everything worked on the Alante drives and tail fin thing, for that set. So I made the production prints on those, got those all sprued up, and we printed out those parts, and they came out super great. I was really happy with how all of that turned out. And Vicky built the mold boxes and everything on that. So we've got...
Those should be coming next.
Yeah, I'll be pouring those in the next couple of days or whatever. So we'll have molds this week for the Alante drives. And the cool thing about that is I'm going to kind of point out the tail cone on that, which the bottom... The bottom sprue with the little round disc things, that's the intakes, and those are kind of solid. So the little slots on the intakes, there's nothing behind those, so you can kind of paint them black and all this. But the little slots around the tail cones on the smaller sprue above that, those are open. So, and I'm going to, try it. We'll see if I can cut those molds and, see if they come out. But that would allow you to, since the engine pods are hollow, you can put LEDs and stuff or other kind of lighting, in those tail cones if you wanted to, and kind of beef up your ship a little bit. The supports the struts that those engines fit onto are fairly thick. So you should be able to drill all the way through those to run your wiring and everything. I tried to engineer that stuff to where it would make it, it would facilitate running electronics and stuff through there. So, and I may do that here on, one of the models when I start, putting those together. But I do have an LED kit for the busted drives for it. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, those are going to mold. And the other section that I worked on was the tail gun section. So I kind of got the engineering finished on how I wanted the weapon mount to fit on the back of the ship. So this is a replacement tail cap that's got the turret window in it, and you'll get a 25 millimeter, a clear plastic dome to fit in that. And then I detailed out the inside pod on that. So we've got the standard, that's the turret seat that fits in there, that's keyed into the seat mount, and then there's all kinds of little greeblies and things on the back of that. So we printed all those parts out, and we'll be putting those on mold. So then, so here I've got those on supports and so forth. And so that went to the printer, and then we printed those out. So those are the actual sprued up parts. And Vicky's already boxed all of those up. So like I said, we'll be putting those on mold this week. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how that turns out. And the cool thing about that is this is the last of the add-ons. So once we get the production and stuff done on these parts, then we won't have any more parts or prints or anything to do or mold or whatever for any of the add-ons. All of the add-on stuff, the stretch goal stuff, and the core ship kit from the Kickstarter will all be done. So whoever's waiting on that stuff, we'll be sending that out. So the next thing that we'll work on is the war rocket, and we'll be down to making the parts on that. And in one of the previous episodes, we talked about that a little bit, and I showed that the sections of the war rocket, and I don't have anything to point with because you can't see my cursor on this, but anyway, just keep in mind that the two back sections with the little balcony, the little window openings or whatever, that'll be a new section that we'll have to run. There'll be like a new tail cone section for it, or afterburner part that will fit into the tail section and so. So what I'll do over the next few weeks or whatever, when we start running production on that, I'll show you guys the parts that we're printing out, for that. I think the first thing that I'm going to start on are the windows, because I've got curved sections on the front of the windows and then those side windows. So, and I'm not sure how many parts. It looks like there's 2, 4, it would be 8. It looks like 10 sections on that. So I'll have to sprue those up and mirror them and everything. So, the war rocket, yes, it will have landing gear. Dave was asking that on the chat.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it takes exactly the same landing gear that the scout ship did. So that sprue, because it's modular, it'll fit into the front section underneath where the cockpit section fits on, and then the two little rear sections will be on the back end of the ship. So so that'll work. And the passenger module that's got the row of the round porthole windows on the top there, that cargo section underneath it, those boarding ramp doors open up, so you'll have a way to move your guys or equipment or whatever in and out. So so as I go through the production and stuff on that, I'll show you guys, because I may have to get in and kind of tweak some of those parts, because some of that has changed a little bit from when we ran the Kickstarter, and I want to make sure that all of that stuff fits together like it's supposed to before we actually put that on mold. So I'll take some screenshots or maybe record some video as I'm working on some of that stuff and post it. So we'll get on with talking about our hobby stuff this week. Our hobby topic of the week is super glue. So I know that a lot of you guys use super glue. I use super glue here, and I know, well, actually, a friend of mine, Brian, from way back in the day, he hates super glue using it. He says he can't ever put anything together without getting it all over his fingers, and so I can understand that. I don't know what you guys are using. I had tried some of this Gorilla Glue. If you have a super glue that's not Gorilla Glue or the BSI glue that I'm going to show you in a minute, post that in the chat and we'll talk about it. Because I think back in the day when I first started modeling and putting kits together and stuff, the super glue that I was using was just like whatever you get at Kmart or Walmart or whatever, and it came in a little like a little foil tube, with a cap on it. What was it, like Crazy Glue or whatever, like the first stuff that they ever put out, and I kind of want to tell a story about that because Lauren Peterson was one of the model shop guys at Industrial Light and Magic back in the 70s. And that was when this cyanoacrylate glue first came out. And I was watching this interview. He talked about it on YouTube, and I read it in that coffee table book that you got me, Building the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Okay, well, he kind of talks about super glue in that a little bit too. Because when they were building the Millennium Falcon model in the shop, the only thing that they had in order to stick all of that stuff together was like 5-minute epoxy. And if you've used epoxy, well, I mean, I know green stuff is an epoxy, and that's very common in our hobby and industry. But if you've ever used like a 2-part epoxy stuff, it takes like 5 to 10 minutes for that stuff to cure. And they had all these little parts and greeblies and stuff all over the models that they needed to put together, and it needed to be fast, and it was all different parts, so it wasn't just styrene, so they couldn't just use model glue with that. And we'll talk a little bit about that too. But so he was mentioning that he had found this stuff, or he actually introduced super glue to the guys in the ILM model shop, and that allowed them to make their deadlines to finish those models because none of the other modelers had seen that. So it was like this new stuff, which was kind of cool. That it's like, well, you'd think that it's been around forever, but it hadn't. And talking about modeling glue and stuff a little bit, the styrene, we had actually gotten contacted a couple of times by people that were trying to put our resin kits together, and they were using model glue, which is like, tester stuff, or I know Plastruct makes a model glue. And that stuff really only works with styrene because how it works is when you put the two parts together and you put the model cement on there, or I think Games Workshop puts out like a model cement too. You put that on there, and what it does is it dissolves the layer of plastic on each part, and it welds it together. But super glue, cyanoacrylate, it's a different chemical reaction that bonds that. So it doesn't actually melt the pieces together, but it creates kind of a bond in between those. So let's see. Okay. You guys posted over here. Let's see. Brandon's been using Loctite. Isn't that what you're saying? Yeah, Loctite super glue gel, and you get that from Dollar Tree. Okay, and then James is also talking about Loctite. Ultra liquid control. I also use some stuff I found from China called Oily Glue by Tree Frog. That sounds interesting, huh? Heather uses Gorilla or Loctite. We use super glue, Jurassic gel. I like that. To piece together fossils when working in the dino prep lab. Okay, that's cool. Whatever that is.
That's pretty awesome.
When you're putting fossils together. Okay, so if you're going to be at ReaperCon, you need to tell us all about that because that sounds
fantastic.
That's really cool. Yeah. Anybody that's using Jurassic gel, I got to know more about that.
Yeah, really.
Right.
That's pretty awesome.
Glue looper at Wonderfest. Let's see. Mercury adhesive. Let's see. It's been pretty good for me. Any cheap tube junk for terrain or basing? Yeah. Right, because if you're putting a lot of like big stuff together, you're doing terrain or that kind of thing. these little tiny tubes of squirty stuff, it's not going to go very far. That was a fun time. I've glued fossils to my fingers. Yeah. I've had to peel stuff off of mine. But hey, here's a trick too. Talking about super glue. If you get super glue on stuff and you're trying to get it off, now this is not going to get it out of clothes or anything. But if you get stuff stuck to your fingers, acetone will take it off, or like nail polish remover, whatever that is. If you get a bottle of nail polish remover and keep it handy, for example, if you get glue and it's like on your fingers and it's crusty and dried or whatever, you can use nail polish remover to get that off. Debonder for the win. Yeah, exactly. Let's see, what's the other thing? Oh, I also saw a thing on the internet, as a guitar player myself. I thought this was kind of interesting. I saw a thing where like new guitar players now, like to practice and so forth, are putting super glue on the tips of their fingers before they build up their calluses and everything in order to work the strings and stuff. So if they don't have calluses yet, it kind of creates this little barrier and keeps the strings from hurting the tips of your fingers. So I've lost all of my calluses now since I haven't played in a while, but that's kind of an interesting trick. I don't know if I want to try that or not, but it sounded interesting. Let's see, debonder works for all CA glues. Okay, so that's cool. If you get if you have debonder handy and stuff, that works great. Terrain, James only uses white glue and alcohol. Yeah. It depends on the materials, I guess. Because super glue, like anything, it's going to melt that foam. What is it? The insulation board. It'll melt that. But if you want to stick stuff to it, now I have found, here's an interesting thing too. If you seal your porous materials with like I have like the Liquitex matte medium or like a matte sealer, or you spray it with like crystal clear or any kind of a sealer or whatever, what is it? I'm trying to remember what that board stuff is.
You're talking about foam core?
Well, like foam core or poster board or anything like that, or cardstock. If you're doing any of that stuff and you want to super glue something to that, you can. The super glue will like super absorb into cardboard. But if you want to keep it from absorbing into the cardboard, if you hit it with crystal clear or matte sealer or something first, you can super glue stuff onto that and it won't soak into the cardboard stock. So you can glue stuff onto that. Yeah, foam core, right. The foam part melts, like you put super glue on that and it'll melt that foam. But if you seal it with something first, you can actually do that. Sanding sealer, yeah, wood or that works too. So yeah, that's a good idea. But the different glue types, since you guys had mentioned Loctite, I think I had used that before, but I don't have it right now. The stuff that I was using, I had started out with this Gorilla Glue stuff and had gotten some from Home Depot, but I have found that like when I'm putting 3D prints together, it won't stick to it takes a long time for it to bond the 3D prints. And I don't know if that's because of the type of resin that I'm printing, or if it's some kind of something with the glue where it's like, well, it doesn't like whatever that printer resin is. I'm not sure what the disconnect is on that, but it's very difficult to use Gorilla Glue on the 3D resin that we use for our prints here. So I went back to using BSI Glue, and this is my favorite super glue ever. This is all I use, like in the way of super glue now, if I can find this stuff. And our local hobby stores carry it, like Hobby. I don't know if they have it at Hobby Lobby. They may have it there. I know they have it at like Hobbytown USA carries it. and you'll find that, like in the picture here where it shows the logo, it says Bob Smith Industries. Usually they'll supply that at blank, or I think they'll print little labels for like stores to put their own label on it. So like if you buy this from Hobby Lobby, or I mean from Hobbytown USA, they'll put their own little logo on it. So it'll look like their brand, but it's not. It's actually from Bob Smith Industries. And so on the label, it actually says bsi-inc.com. So you can go to actually their website. And the stuff that I get is the Maxi Cure. Okay, I know, and I'm not going to make any comments about that. But anyway, it's a super thick gel type super glue, and it super bonds to everything. So like even the printer resin that we use here, this will stick instantly to it. So you can put two parts together with a little dot on there, and it will stick, and there won't be a problem. So because I was having issues with, like, we would print our parts, and when I would, demold them, like a lot of times, because the molds are flexible, when the parts would come out, like the sprues would be broken and so forth. And it's like, well, I don't have to print, extra parts for that. I since we've already printed and cleaned those and sprayed them and so forth, I want to hang on to those in case we need to make more molds. So I was having trouble gluing those little sprues and some little parts back together that had broken, to make sure that they're still in really good shape. So I went back to using this BSI glue, and it works great for putting those parts back together that are printed. Let's see. We'll go back and see what you guys have to say about that. Model railroads have all kinds of tricks. Let's see. First time chat. Look at that. Kathy Wapple jumped in. Hey, Kathy.
Kathy.
Glad you could come in and hang out with us. We're talking about super glue right now, so if you get a chance to, let's see. She did post something at the bottom. Okay, let me look through this here and see what everybody says. Paint my foam with regular acrylic paint, and you get the yep, that works. Gloss varnish is a decent brush on for sealing in small spots. Takes a while to dry, but it works. Yeah, gloss varnish is good. House paint. Dave's having trouble finding BSI. I know you can order it online. Tower Hobbies, that's where I order my stuff from. Tower Hobbies has it, and I think Micromark has it. And actually, if you get the stuff from Micromark, I think they've got like a little Micromark label on their bottle. So I don't know. I'd have to look at it again, but it's been a while since I've ordered stuff from Micromark. But I think you can get it from there. Just stop at Scale Reproductions today and see if they have BSI. Let's see. Let's see. Interesting about the glue on different resins. Use Instacure medium thickness. Yeah. I like the Instacure too. But for whatever reason, I've got this MaxiCure stuff, and it works super great. So I've stuck with that. Bad pun for talking about super glue. Yeah, that's what I need. I need a little sound. I can hit the button. It's a little rim shot on there. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, thanks for jumping in, Kathy, and saying hi. I think I've caught a couple of your episodes after your broadcast. I watched them later. I hadn't been able to catch it live yet. Let's see. I'll have to look for the MaxiCure. Yeah. The MaxiCure is super great if you can get it. It's it's good stuff. That's kind of my go-to now if I'm gonna glue anything together. So, and I'll even super glue styrene plastic. Like when I'm putting a little GW kit together, I'll still use it for that. So it works great. So let's see. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna, unless you guys have some other stuff you want to pop in the chat about super glue, we're going to move on and kind of talk about some of our upcoming sculpts a little bit. I've got a preview here. This character right here is Erzarrow, and he's a black marketeer. He's a large Shrenar. I think there's what. And Vicky's got this great background and stuff for him, so I'm going to let her kind of tell about him a little bit.
Oh yeah?
Well.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Well, you can go ahead and do what you're doing.
Oh, okay. I can.
But I've got his picture up here on the screen of the original.
Okay.
The original sculpt.
Cool. Well, Erzarrow is actually a member of. Well, first of all, y'all that aren't familiar with the Shrenar, that's one of the species from Counterblast. They're very tribal in structure and social structure and whatnot. But Erzarrow is actually the way Shrenar punish bad behavior amongst themselves usually doesn't result in prison because they think that confining somebody or being confined is worse than killing them. So they think that's absolutely horrific. So usually banishment is what happens in rare cases. Maybe people are killed, but most of the time they're banished, and these outcasts are called Shaors. And over time, the Shaors have banded together and formed tribes of their own, and Erzarrow was actually born into this tribe, or this particular Shaors tribe. So he's very protective of Shaors and, has a certain amount of resentment toward regular Shrenar. So anyway, but most Shaors are either want to or forced to operate kind of outside the law. So that's kind of how he got into black marketeering. So anyway, that's a little bit of information about him.
Yeah, that's more info than I had about it. So, so that's a little bit of his background
That's
and stuff.
Probably
there.
more information than they wanted to know.
Well, no, I mean that's important to help with designing the figure and so forth. So the picture that I've got here is the original sculpt that I did in Bee's Putty, for that character, and we did these figures for the book starter for 2nd edition Counterblast. So we put out a few new little characters and stuff for that, and so I sculpted this, and I think we had Fortress Figures cast those for us in their resin stuff, and that was before we had our resin casting stuff set up here. Which actually some of our casting stuff I didn't have set up until we ran the scout ship project, like the big tanks and stuff. But anyway, it looks like Kathy's heading out. So thanks for dropping in, Kathy.
Yeah, thanks,
appreciate
Kathy.
you for saying hi. So let's see. Yeah, so we got those cast up, but have since sold out of those, and I'm not sure what the state of the molds and stuff are at Fortress, but we're wanting to cast those in house, and I kind of wanted to re-sculpt the characters and stuff anyway. So particularly because now that I'm sculpting all that stuff in ZBrush, I can not only offer them as a resin kit on the web store, but you can also get it as an STL file if you want to print it yourself and resize it or whatever. So, let's see. Dave's got to go. Oh, okay. I'm having a hard time keeping up with the chat. Okay, so Dave's heading out. Okay.
See you, Dave.
All right. Well, yeah, hang out with us if you can. Kathy, that's great. You can't get rid of me that easy.
Oh, you're not leaving. Okay.
Yeah, no, Dave had to go.
Oh,
yeah.
Dave's the one that...
Right.
Well.
So yeah, here I'll put that back up a little bit. So Dave, thanks for hanging out with us and talking about super glue and stuff. We appreciate you being here this morning.
Yep.
Let's see. Thanks for the compliment on that. I'm glad you like those cat guys. We've got a bunch more lion guys and other cat guys and stuff coming too. So yeah,
Yes,
for sure.
We do.
Yeah. So so with this, Vicky and I kind of talked about like, well, what can we do? And so I'm kind of going to beef him up a little bit and add some more stuff to him. We'll take a look at. Let me show you the sculpt that I'm working on now. Okay, so this is over in ZBrush, and so I've been able to block out his basic form so far. Okay, so what he had on the original sculpt was he had what's the Niran sword thing?
Jakara.
Yeah. Okay, so he's got a Jakara, which there's probably some kind of backstory about how he got that.
There's a story why he got that.
Right. So so that'll wind up probably in the role-playing game book. I'm pretty sure because he's going to be a non-player character at some point. So so that'll all be detailed in there. But yeah, but what we were talking about yesterday when Vicky and I were looking at the figure was I kind of want to spread the shoulders out a little bit more because she was thinking it's like, well, he needs to be, heavier, more massive, wants to add some more mass to it. So
yeah, he's a pretty big, powerful guy.
Right. Yeah, as like a big lion type of guy or whatever. So, yeah, so I'll probably be adjusting the proportions and stuff on the upper torso and kind of widening his shoulders and stuff out a little bit more. And I know that he had on the original sculpt, he had some details and stuff on the back of his vest. And we talked about adding, some braids or doing something, to the mane. And I know he's probably going to have some kind of a necklace type of deal, a tribal Shrenar, necklace or whatever on there. So I've still got some details and stuff to add on him, but it's coming along. So I'm pretty happy with kind of how it's turning out. And then once I get the details and stuff wrapped up on him, then I'll go on and pose. I'll come up with some kind of a pose. I think that I don't want to do some kind of an action pose where it's like it's really super dynamic or anything, but I do want to give some movement, flow, and action to him. As a hero character. Yep. Let's see. Oh, yeah, and Kathy was talking about the cat ladies. Yeah, we're going to do some cat ladies.
Oh, yeah. You don't have the picture of the captain handy, do you?
I do. Actually, I can show that. Here, let me find that.
I can't remember her name. It's like Raya or something. Ranja.
No, Ranja that's the barbarian.
Yeah, that's
thing.
the barbarian is Ranja.
Right. Okay, let's see. It may be better to go. Let's see where I put that stuff. I think it's in here. Oh, it is Rania. It's Rania, it's a different spelling. Okay, so there she is. That's our new Shrenar Lancer captain. So this is a character that I'm going to be sculpting for I think the Kickstarter, the Savage Worlds RPG Kickstarter characters. So because we've got like a bunch of new characters and stuff that we're doing for that. Maybe that classic Han Solo pose for Erzarrow would work. Something like that with his blaster.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh, and Kathy also mentioned that he does need a longer torso. So it's like the proportions between his torso and kind of lower the belt a little bit and all that. So I'm going to go in and tweak some of that stuff and adjust it before I go on and pose him up. But anyway, yeah. So this is Rania, and she's a Lancer captain, and she's got some traditional Shrenar armor and so forth on, even though it's a sci-fi setting. A lot of the Shrenar, what their they've got different tribal kind of
Yeah.
affiliations and so forth. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to sculpting that. And Vicky was talking about she'd like to do like a 75 millimeter figure of this,
I'd
or
really like to do a 75 millimeter version of that.
right, or like a bust or something,
or both.
Yeah, or yeah. I mean, why choose, right?
Why
I mean, when you can have it all.
Have a both, have a bust and a 75 mil.
Right. That's also another big benefit of working in digital is that I can take that. Yeah, a garage kit would be great, and do it in 1/10 or 1/6 scale, 1/5 or 1/4. Yeah. So, so she might be at ReaperCon. So we'll see. How that goes.
I'd love that.
Yeah. But actually, I can kind of preview some more of those guys for you too. Let's go back to that. This is another of the figures that I'm looking forward to doing is Zary.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for Zary.
1-to-1 scale would be pretty big.
That's pretty big.
That's more like cosplay. If it was a cosplay, then it would be.
That's where you have to go into cosplay.
Right.
I'm sorry.
That would be 1-to-1.
You're gonna have to.
So, but Zary here, I think she's like an engineer mechanic character or whatever.
She's a really talented Alani mechanic.
Right. And the cool thing about this is, and I can't remember, I have to look up the artist that did this one for us, but he did these really cool like rebreathers, like on the side of her collar, where like her gills would be, and so she's got like this little. I guess it's like that thing that Abe Sapien had in the Hellboy movie, where he had like the little collar that had the water or whatever in it, so he could breathe and stuff.
Yeah.
So so he did a thing like that. And I thought that was really interesting, for the Alani stuff. But her suit is really cool. She's got a lot of details like tool pouches and things and all that. So that's another one that I'm looking forward to putting together for the Kickstarter project. So we got cats and fish people. So that's what we're doing. And then I also need to do I need to remake the sniper because we've got the little
the Shrenar clipper.
Shrenar clipper, because she's got the little sniper rifle and everything. So I want to do that because we've been out of all of our cat things for Counterblast in the web store, and so
the GDF Enforcer and
right.
Then, like, the Lancer Lance Guard, that's a Alani guy,
Yeah. Well, Brandon's popping out. Well, hey, thanks for hanging out with us today, Brandon. Dave was telling me that you guys have a store that's open in there, to you guys, and you guys are going to go hang out and check it out. So, post pictures and stuff, because I'll check it out later if you guys do that. I'd like to see what the grand opening thing looks like.
Yeah.
Lilu needs a figure too.
Yeah, she does, doesn't she?
Right. Multi-pass.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for hanging out with us. So let's see. Yeah.
So, all right. Bye.
Yeah. Bye. So then the next guy that I'm probably going to be working on after this guy is Unagi. Right.
Salmon skin roll.
Yeah.
No, wait.
No, that's
different.
That's like Ross. Yeah.
Yeah. Unagi.
So this guy's sculpted in Beast Putty and it came out at the same time. So this is going to be like our King Shark character for Counterblast.
Yeah, he's a big Alani Piesgriff guy.
Yeah, he's a big dude. And speaking of scale, I have reference. If you guys are wondering how big these guys are, that's a 40 millimeter base that they're on. So like I've got, it's auto saving over here. Let's see. Okay, so we'll put Brack Maxter in there, right? So
Good old Brack.
yeah. Okay, so there's kind of a, he's about a head taller or so than Brack Maxter. But by the time that I get zoom in. Running ZBrush and streaming live at the same time, it really bogs it down. I guess because I've got a bunch of other stuff running too. I've got 2 cameras and 3 microphones and all that stuff. Yeah. But anyway, so it's run a little bit slower. But anyway, so with Brack Maxter, you can kind of see how big he is compared to that. But I guess once I go in and beef up the width of his shoulders and kind of thicken up his arms and stuff, he's going to wind up being a little bit bigger. So these proportions are going to be a little bit different. But he should be a pretty chunky guy, once he's finished. So, but I'll keep you guys updated on that. And what I've been doing is, as I've been working on it, is taking screen recordings of ZBrush at the time that I'm working on it. So I'm going to edit that together, and it'll be like a little time-lapse thing of like starting out with a just a basic sphere, and I can run a little preview of that for you too. Let's see. Counterblast. Ooh, 3D work. Yeah. And clips, right? So I'll just scrub through this just a little bit, but it'll give you an idea of like, so I put that stuff together. So I'm gonna cut these videos together so you can see exactly how I sculpted that stuff. Here I'm kind of putting the eye together so I can tell where it's going to be focused and so forth as I'm sculpting on that. But so that's been kind of fun. I've been enjoying documenting that process. So once I get him wrapped up, then I'll edit that video together and post that over on YouTube, so you guys can kind of see how he's started out, through the whole process. And I'm also thinking about shooting some video of the printing process when we make the prints and the molding and casting and so forth. So you can kind of see him, all the way through the whole production from like, well, he started out as little pixels here, and now it's an actual, painted mini. And I'm not sure who's going to paint that. It's like, I know you will probably want to paint it. We may get Mary to paint him. I may paint. I don't know. We haven't decided on that, but I know we'll want a painted one to show at ReaperCon. I would imagine.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, yeah. So that's where he is on that, and I think was that. Yep. So we're back to our coupon code for this month. So yeah, those are all the pictures that I've got for you. Okay. Through that. So. Yeah. But did I miss anything? Was there something that you wanted to cover?
I can't think of anything.
Okay, because I tried to be complete about that.
Yeah, I know.
We do all the stuff. The other thing that happened this week, because we were talking about news at the beginning of the show, we reserved and booked our tables for our vendor tables for ReaperCon.
Oh yeah.
Because when we were out. Okay, well, this is an interesting thing. Our local Reynolds Advanced Materials representative contacted me this week and said, hey, I'm going to be out in Greenville, and you guys want to get together for some coffee or something like that. So we met him over at Starbucks. And this is the company that supplies our resin for casting miniatures and things. So we went and met him over there. Super nice guy. His name is Al Brewer, and he works at the Dallas Reynolds Advanced Materials shop. And so we talked to him a little bit. He brought us a catalog, and I gave him a couple of our figures and stuff. He had seen our website and wanted to meet with us because we buy a lot of their product cast our miniatures. So we went over there and met him, and then while Vicky and I were at lunch, we got the notification that Chris had sent out that the website was set up to reserve our the vendor spaces for ReaperCon. So we jumped over there and picked out 3 spaces in the middle. Yeah. So last year we had 2 spaces, which was pretty big, but
yeah, we wanted to be sure to have some space this year to run demos, because I'm having I'm not sure when or how to go about submitting events, because I know they have lots of gaming events, but we haven't done that really, and I'm unfamiliar with the process, and so this way we'll be able to run some demos even if we aren't successful in getting some events set up, because we wanted to run. Did you want to run some 2.0 stuff?
Yeah,
I know we wanted to run some Savage World beta stuff. So
right, because here at the first weekend of June, we're going to be at the North Texas RPG Con, and we've already submitted 2 events. I guess it's just 2 sessions, right? Because you're just running 1 session of each one.
Yeah, I'm running 1 session of each one.
Yeah, because Vicky's got 2 different scenarios for Counterblast Savage Worlds, and we've got both of those have been scheduled. So, if you're catching this later on YouTube, then I will post links to go and check those out over on the North Texas RPG Con site. Or if you're signed up on our mailing list, there's a little section for appearances in the email that each one I send out. It's I just leave it in there because it's got important links in it. So go and check that out, because there may be some spots. I think they're about to open up the general registration or whatever, and there's a couple of slots left on each one of those games. So if you're going to be at North Texas RPG Con, you can come by and check out our Counterblast thing. But we're also going to be running those at ReaperCon if we could get the events. What's that?
Dragon Eye said that for ReaperCon they usually solicit games for ReaperCon after classes.
Okay.
That's all they know about it.
Okay. All right.
So
well, I'll be on the lookout for that.
Try to keep an eye out. Thank you for that.
Yeah. I appreciate you mentioning that. I also know Joseph Wolf, and Joseph runs a bunch of the D&D games that are set in the Reaper Dark Heaven setting. Whatever, I can't remember the name of the setting, but anyway, I know he runs game sessions and stuff like that. So I may just message him over there and say, hey, send me a thing.
How do you set up your games?
Yeah, or just send me a, hit me, peg me or whatever when they're available if I miss the notification or something on it. So yeah, so what we're going to do is we'll set up a little table or our little demo table at the booth so we can run the Counterblast stuff there, but I kind of want to have a space outside the vendor hall.
It'd be nice to have some game events.
Yeah, as a scheduled event or whatever. So then we can set up that stuff and run a couple of the RPG sessions and stuff for that. So, yeah. So I'll try to message him and see if I can find out when that's going to be or get an idea. But yeah, so we're looking forward to that, and the ribbons, because we were going to order new ribbons and stuff.
The ribbons.
We talked about that a little bit in the last show. I think I showed some of the ribbons that we had from last year, and there was like a couple of more that we're going to do, like new ones.
Yeah, we're going to do at least 2 or maybe even 3 more new ones. It kind of depends, because we're going to we'll have to reorder some of our initial ribbons, because I know we ran out of those last time.
There was a few that we ran out of, yeah.
Yeah,
so,
and but yeah, there's going to be some few more that we can add to it, maybe.
Yeah,
which would be cool. So.
Yeah, so we'll come up with some cool things for that. Vicky and I looked at the resin stuff that we had yesterday. We've got a big box of miscast. What I guess?
Oh yeah, our the ones that when we QC stuff that's not patchable or
if we can't salvage it,
if
then
we can't fix it in some way, it goes in the bin. So we've got a whole lot of stuff from the project.
Yeah, well, that and some other stuff.
Yeah, and several other things.
So, so we'll be bringing our bin of offcast or miscasts again, like we had last year, and
because that was really popular. I have to say that surprised me because I was like, I did not think that I knew people would like maybe pick through it and find certain things that they're looking for, but I really was not expecting that. I mean, we didn't have any left.
I know it was like it was gone. There were just a few little bits or whatever in the bottom of that tub when we brought it back. So we may have to get a bigger bin next time. I mean, I don't know.
Think we're going to need a bigger bin.
Right. There's a little resin shark in there swimming around. But
I was like, wow.
Yeah.
So we're going to have quite a bit of more stuff this year since that seemed to go over well. Mm-hmm. We're going to, continue to do that because obviously there's some kind of demand for it. So
right. And if you guys are, if you're going to be painting stuff for ReaperCon, we've got our Melee trophies and stuff.
Oh,
so
that's right. And we may have a new trophy this year. I don't know.
We're still working on it, but there's how they start out. So, and this is Heather's trophy that I'm going to put together and send to her. So
yeah, you keep telling her
I know
that.
I keep telling every week I tell her that, and it's right here,
like,
and it's I know
it's like, what's the deal, man?
I know I gotta clean it and put it together.
Yeah.
So, but I have all of the stuff for it, so it's all together. And it's coming, but and there may be a couple other goodies in there.
I apologize, so. Heather. That's an epic fail on my part. Yeah.
Right. So yes, but it's here with my stuff to do. I have a stack of things over here that it's like this is stuff I need to get to next. So let's see. Yeah. Oh, I'm absolutely going to get it to you before ReaperCon. I want to.
Hey, here's the one from last year.
Right. Right.
Here's your previous one, and here's another one.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I will definitely get that to you. Well, let's see. What are we looking at? Well, we're coming up on 10 o'clock. So I guess we'll be wrapping it up here. I think that's pretty much all of the stuff that we want to cover for this week. I guess I'm sure we'll be talking about more hobby stuff next week. I'm kind of figuring out, what other topics we want to cover because we did putty and now we've done super glue and some stuff like that and gaming mats and things. So,
is there stuff y'all want to hear about? Let us know.
Yeah, post it in the chat or post it in the comments or whatever below if you're watching on YouTube. If you want to hit some topics or whatever later in the week, ask me what my favorite paintbrush is or, something, and we'll talk about, more hobby stuff because there's all kinds of tips and stuff that you guys know about out there that, we want to share with, other viewers and things. So, and there's some tips that I like to share with you guys. It's like, I've discovered things or, found out stuff. I want to be able to pass that on to you. So, but yeah, so that's what we've covered this week. I do want to plug our other show that I'm doing with Tom Mason and Bill Thornhill. We're supposed to be recording our second episode of that tomorrow night, and I'll be editing that over the coming weeks, and we'll be posting that over. It's called The Sculpters. And on our first episode over on YouTube, actually, if you look at our Bombshell channel, if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, there's a link that you somewhere around, if you're looking on the page, for the sculptors. And on our first episode, we kind of talked about our background and how we got into sculpting and got into the hobby and all that kind of thing, the miniatures gaming hobby. Which is kind of interesting because the three of us have, very different stories, like how we got, hooked on, doing this weird thing, sculpting stuff that we do. And so our next episode that we're going to be doing, we're talking about our influences and inspiration. And so it's like, well, what are we inspired by? What influences have we had in our art backgrounds and that sort of thing. So I'm really interested in talking to the guys, to find out what their viewpoint and what their influences are. So we'll be discussing that in our next episode. So be on the lookout for that. And I'll post links and it'll be in the email and so forth when we get that wrapped up. But that's going to be it for today. So if you guys are working on your hobby stuff, keep painting and everything. And Vicky's going to be wrapping up Major Tom here pretty soon. And we get the base, finished on that. And then we'll show you some pictures of Major Tom. But otherwise, we will see you next week on another episode of Saturday Morning Cereal. So like and subscribe and do all that, internet stuff. And, boost us and keep us going because we're enjoying hanging out with you guys on Saturday morning.
Yeah, thank y'all for joining us.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming and chatting and hanging out. It's a lot of fun. And if I can figure out how to get Discord voice stuff plugged into this, then we might do that down the line too.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, thanks a lot, and we will see you next week. Bye, y'all.
Y'all take care.